Yo!
Hey Chris, ChrisFIx here.
Yeah, dude, I know. I got caller ID. I think everybody has caller ID now.
Right. Anyway, I'm starving and I just wanted to see if you want to get some Chinese food.
I'm down. Where you want to go?
I was thinking Shenzhen.
Right. So yeah, I went to China and I was able to achieve a crazy life goal that I've had my heart set on for a long time, and I'm going to tell you all about that. But this episode is about a lot more. While I was there, I came up with an idea for an invention. I don't think it's been done in the car world yet. I think it's super cool, and this is B is for build. So today we are going to build a prototype of that invention, and then we're going to bring it to SEMA to go on display. Now this invention isn't like too crazy complicated, it's just pretty clever. It's a mixture between a highly functional single gauge pod and a dash cam. It's a unique way to have a sleek dash cam with very little wiring and have a functional gauge pod that can do a bunch of stuff. Something we all want. But I think to start building it, we should start in the software side of the world, so we're in the wrong place. To the office. We are just trying to build a prototype, but even for a prototype, we're going to need some pretty hefty hardware and software. We're going to need some images. We're going to need some way to control the images to represent different screen states and functionalities. So there's going to be coding along with hardware and design. It's time to start shopping. I'm starting with a screen that's round and roughly the size of a gauge pod face. And I accidentally ripped this one in half. Deep breath. On to the second one. This really shouldn't be that hard. Just trying to make a prototype, but it is 20 hours of programming later, and hey, I finally got something to show you. Okay, the software side is almost done, maybe done, I'm not 100% sure. It's close enough to done. The downside is it took over 20 hours of programming, and I went through 2 of these things. Don't tell me the cable's not long enough. The cable's not long enough. Oh my god, if I break another one of these things, I'm gonna be so mad at myself. I'm gonna have to move the camera. Okay, so the device, the screen, and the chip in the back are like one thing, and then there's this bezel that moves on the other thing. The bezel switches the slide. Slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are representing functionalities like dash cam, AFR, boost gauge, temperatures, G-forces, and a lap timer. So these are all things that we could put in a device like this if you're better at programming than me. Vantrue's got people to do that. Since this is a prototype, these are just screens to be able to represent them. Obviously the screens are just they're filler images at this point. I'll get ones that have like kind of the same theme and everything across them all. It's on my list of things to do. It's just one of those things that AI can't do very well yet, so I'm gonna have to do it myself. What I gotta do is start 3D printing. So I need to 3D print a body for this thing. It's gonna be inspired by the Porsche. This is kind of what gave me the idea, is Porsche has a little clock thing in their dash, and I think it looks cool. It's called a stopwatch chrono. So it's gonna be it's gonna hopefully look somewhat similar. So I'm gonna take that as like the reference design idea. And one of the hard things is like this has just a few little bolt holes in the back where I can connect to it. So I've gotta map those out, measure those, make those holes, and then build it so this thing just slots in there, gets bolted in from the back and stays steady. So let's bust out a design, at least a prototype, try and get the camera in there too, to represent the dash cam side of the dash cam, and get to print. Alright, so while I'm designing this, a little bit of story time. Let me tell you about this crazy life goal I was able to achieve on this trip. So you guys know, like, I used to be absolutely obsessed with going to Disneyland. I would finish a build, and my way of relaxing afterwards, I would hit the road, I would drive the car to Disneyland. It's 1,000 miles, almost exactly, away from my house, and I'd spend a few days in Disneyland. It was my favorite way to relax. I just, have a beer and watch people and go on rides, that type of thing. And over the years, a lot of different milestones happened for me there. I got engaged there. I probably got partially unengaged there. I set a record for being the first person to drink beer out of a shoe in Disneyland. I was also the first person to celebrate my birthday in 2 different Disney parks on 2 different continents, which was pretty cool. I made a lot of amazing memories there, and that was all just Disneyland in Los Angeles, California. But once in a while, I'd go to Disney World in Orlando, Florida. And then in 2019, when I went to Japan for the first time, I had to go to Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. And I think that was on that trip that I was talking with Chelsea, and I thought, how cool would it be to go to every Disneyland in the world? And I never really thought it would be able to happen because two of the parks were, you guessed it, in China. So fast forward a few years later, and I was able to visit Paris, and I went to the Disneyland in Paris for the first time. And the next year after that, I brought the whole crew to Tokyo Disneyland, and I was able to return back to Paris Disneyland once again, but still no China. So I was in Florida actually at Disney World hanging out with ChrisFIx. He took me on a wonderful trip to help, kind of clear my mind from all the cancer stuff. And he told me about the China trip, and my treatment was in like such limbo. I didn't know if I could go or not, but I was so interested in the idea of going to China that I just started putting things into motion, just assuming I was going to be okay. My doctor would clear me to go. And I talked with Vantrue, and we got it all set up. And our first meeting point was in Hong Kong. That's where we all flew in and met at. And that's where one of the Disneyland parks is. So obviously we had to go. And myself and Chris and Jamie and Yi, who is one of our friends from Vantrue, we all had a wonderful day at the park. It was super empty, which is like really amazing for China. And it started to drizzle a little bit, and I got this super unique shot of a nearly empty main street, which for China is super rare. And we just had such an epic time. But the next park is going to be super challenging because the next park is in Shanghai and Vantrue is in Shenzhen. So it's not exactly close. But when I explained to the guys at Vantrue like how much this goal meant to me, they totally like made it happen. And Vantrue went above and beyond. They put me on a first class flight to Shanghai. They sent me with a guide. Her name's Jaden. And when we landed in Shanghai, I noticed that the largest building in China and the third largest building in the entire world was not too far from our hotel. I was on a bit of a tall building kick because earlier in the trip we went to the fourth tallest building in the world in Shenzhen, and that was super awesome. So the only problem is when we landed, it was really late and the building was kind of closed. But I had Jaden tell the people, like the security and the guests, that I was a very important American actor, and it kind of worked. That plus a little bit of sneaking around, and we were able to get to the highest floor, like 8 floors above the observatory, which was already closed at this point, in the Shanghai Tower. And the view was, as you can see, absolutely incredible. The next morning, we got to the park super early, and I was able to visit Shanghai Disneyland, checking that last box to finally visit every Disney park in the entire world. Shanghai was insanely hot though, and I was having some complications with my cancer medicine, so I wasn't doing well in the sun. And fun fact, they don't sell sunscreen in Shanghai Disneyland, like nowhere. But there were like heat warnings and announcements and cancellations of all the live shows. It was pretty rough. But I was able to do it and get back to the airport in time to catch my flight to meet back up with the crew in Beijing for some Peking duck, like world's best Peking duck, which is candied duck and delicious. All right, this thing is pretty much designed. It is designed. Let's go ahead and send it back to one of these 3D printers. Fine lines, faster. Fine lines. While that thing's printing, I just want to give a big shout out and thank you to Vantrue for inviting us and hosting us in China and letting us experience such an amazing place. You know, at times there's a lot of political tensions between America and China, and I was really excited to kind of go see things for myself. Like, let's go see if all the stuff we hear about on the news and these different things are true. Both countries have narratives on each other that are wildly false. And so I had to go there. I wanted to see what it was like firsthand. And I'll tell you, after going, like, I consider myself pretty well traveled. I've been to a lot of different countries, and China is now on my must visit list. Like, you've got to go there. I honestly think everybody should go there at least for a while and see it. It is quite amazing. The architecture is unbelievable. The history that they have in the buildings and the modern architecture as well. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. The people are all so nice. Like, I cannot overstate this enough. Like, we didn't have a single bad experience with a single person the entire time we were there. Also worth mentioning, if you're a guy, Chinese women really like American guys. And if you're a woman, I bet Chinese men like American women, but no women watch this show, so we're good on that. The people are just happy that you're there. They're so kind and they're so excited that you're there coming to visit their place. Culture that they bring is fantastic, from like the group dining experiences to all of the history that there is available to learn. It's all just so great. And I learned an important thing on this trip, which is no matter what country you live in, it's the people of the country that are what make the country and the culture. Unless you literally work for the government isn't the people. So it's okay sometimes to separate those things. I don't think their government's perfect. I don't think our government's perfect. But what I do know is it would have been absolute shame if I missed out on making the friends that I made in China, because our two governments keep butting heads. And on this trip, I went to Hong Kong, Macau, Shenzhen, Shanghai, and Beijing. And if I had to pick two epic standouts, climbing the Great Wall of China in Beijing was absolutely incredible. It was a fun group experience. It was a little scary at times, but we finally got to the top. They had beer up there somehow, and I got a medal. It was so fun. I highly recommend that. And when we were in Shenzhen, one of the Sundays, factories are closed, there's nobody around, so we went golfing. And we went golfing in the world's largest golf course, and it was fancy, way fancier than we had any golf ability to live up to, but it was so cool, and just what an epic experience that was. So yeah, in my opinion, you know, if you like traveling, I really think that this place should be on your list. And I don't care to speak to any of the politics of any of this crap going back and forth between our two countries, but I just really hope that someday we can get to a point where it's easier for us to visit them and them to visit us. But I think maybe the powers that be don't want that to be, because they're gonna realize we're all a bunch of cool people and we all enjoy each other's stuff, and it's harder to make each other look like the enemy. Anyways, back to work. Hot off the 3D printer, the print is finished, and we're here in the shop to put a finish on it. So I printed with small layer lines, so it's very good, but you will see like some of these, that's like a seam. Camera's being a little weird. And then there's actually some geometry lines right here, and that's just basically, I didn't make the 3D model have enough polygons, so it kind of shows. Like, you can make a sphere without infinite sides. Anyways, you guys get the idea. So, so what we do is we just sand, and then I'm gonna coat this with heat is one thing, because it's a little cold. Problem we always have the day before SEMA. But so just sand this thing up with, like, I'm gonna go pretty low, like probably 220. Gonna get it sanded to a nice smooth finish. And then let me show you what I'm gonna coat it with. Why is it so dark? All right, so this stuff is like some spray-on Rust-Oleum truck bed liner. Now, they call it truck bed liner. I would never use it for truck bed liner. It is pretty durable and it has a good texture, but it's a fine grit texture, which I would never want in a truck bed. But it does go really good on things that you want to have like that almost interior-like kind of fine bumpy grit. I used it in the headlights of the Murcielago last year. If you look right here on the 3D model, like, it's almost the same amount of grit that comes off the print bed. I wish I could have that all around this whole thing. And you can when you sand it and then spray it with this. So a little bit of hand sanding, a lot of power sanding. Let's get this thing busted out and then get a coat of this on it. And then we can do the final installation, I think. I continued to tweak the software all day today. Whew. Got new graphics, software's looking good, more controls. We've got ourselves a good prototype coming. Let's get to work. All right, we got this baby texturized, sanded and texturized, and I think it looks really, really good. Now, it has a little bit of a higher gloss than I would usually like. I normally hit it with this Steel It black, and that kind of knocks down the gloss. But if I leave it like this, you can see I got a little bit of dust there, and it wipes off pretty easily. Once you put the Steel It black in there, it does make it harder to clean. So I think because I'm traveling with this and everything, I'm just gonna leave it like this and let the little bit higher gloss than I would normally do, just roll with it. Just roll with it. So it is now time for the final assembly. We're gonna get the camera lens out the back here, and we will get the display, the computer, and all that stuff in here, and then we will mount the motherboard inside there somewhere and run the cable out the back. All right, she's fully assembled, ready for time to shine. That's that dust I talked about. A little lick of the fingers there, a little quick washing, you know, a couple hours after a paint job. Never hurt anything. This thing is set up, ready to rock. I want to show you it in action. So ready to action it. But before I do that, I've got something else to install in my car. This guy, Vantrue E1 Pro. I may have stolen it with permission off of the factory line in China. I want to show you guys how to install one of these in your car. We're going after the 2023 GR86. This is our kind of build in the middle of progress. This was supposed to go to SEMA, so I thought it was fitting. Let me show you how to install one of these. That way I can kind of give you a side-by-side comparison and show you what I'm talking about. This is basically the engine, the processing unit, and the lens I would love. So if, like, you know, I'm going to give them this prototype and go, you know, please build this and make this real. And then if they do and they throw the guts of this thing and that thing, whoo, powerhouse. So let me show you how to install one of these things. It's pretty cool. I would highly recommend doing the hardwired power kit. I didn't remember to steal one of those from China. So I'm going with the kind of traditional, what you would call a cigarette power adapter way to plug your car, but I'm gonna show you how to run the wires really neatly so it's nice and clean. This thing packs a punch. 4K camera, HDR, able to put the polarized lens on the top so you don't get that windshield glare. ChrisFIx did an amazing video on how to install exactly this camera. I'll put a link to that in the description. He goes super into depth on the hardwire kit too. Can't recommend the hardwire kit enough because it really helps protect your car when it's parked a lot better. If your power adapter, this style one, turns off when you turn your vehicle off, it's harder to get parked vehicle footage. So actually the first thing you do want to do is plug it in. I just realized that because we want to aim it. You know, we want to see where we're going here. A lot of people like to hide it behind their rearview mirror so it doesn't distract them while they're driving. I don't know, I might like to see it a little bit more. But so now I can see right here, like my angle's good. I've got a great point of view and that's all great. Actually, I'm going to put it up higher because then the cable is going to be even like cleaner. So I'll put it like right there. So that's my landing spot. Beautiful. The build quality on these is super good. I actually, in every step of the factory where different pieces were being made, I made sure I stepped in and learned what it was like to build one of these things. So I worked in the plastic injection molding factory and I worked in the camera factory. And the one where they do the chips was a little too high tech, so I swept the floors. Anyways, it was a great time and I learned a ton about how these things are made. Insanely good, high quality. And now we run this wire properly, not like an Uber driver. The strategy, flip this around, start tucking up here, tuck the wire up here. It comes with a little tuck tool in the box. And then you want to pop the plastic off of this. I mean, if I could do it one-handed, it's got to be easy, right? Oh, there's my one hand. So you pull the trim back a little bit so then you can get access to that thing. Pop that down. You want to see where your airbag is so you don't run the wire across the airbag because that could lead to bad stuff. Could make your airbag not deploy properly. So I'm going to run my wire down here on the inside of the airbag, and then the airbag ends right there where my finger is. So I'll go underneath the airbag down there. My power adapter is in the glove box, which is weird. And then I'm going to run on the inside of this between this trim piece. You can see I can get my finger in there easily. Between that trim piece through there, and then you can actually fish right through the glove box, go through the bottom of the glove box and up into there. Let me do that real quick. That, I will admit, that's a two-handed operation. All right, there we are, installed. That literally took less than 5 minutes. Super clean install, just followed exactly where I said I was gonna do it. Could do a little zip tie, bundle it, and keep it clean, extra wiring in the glove box. But seriously, 5 minutes, which means all those Uber drivers have no excuse, or they need to buy a better dash cam. And like I said, this thing is super, super sick. It's got, you know, built-in GPS, it's got Wi-Fi, it's got voice control. When we were at the factory, we had the funniest moment playing with the voice control. We're here checking out how things are made, and this is a pretty incredible room. This is called the burn-in room. So before they ship any dash cam, they test it recording in a hot room for 4 hours. Like, so this was just created off the assembly line. We're close to the final step, and this is recording for 4 hours to make sure it's good. And the fun thing is these are all running, right? And they have voice commands. So Jamie, go ahead and tell them. Take picture. I don't know if you can hear that, but every camera they can hear us say, take photo. There's hundreds of them in here, and they all just go off all at the same time. Oh man, this is awesome. Yeah, that was the hardest I've laughed in a long time. They've got a great mobile app. I mean, it's the whole package. Vantrue is the best when it comes to this stuff. And I'm super glad I got to meet these guys and tour the factory and do all this cool stuff and have an amazing trip in China thanks to them. It was just an unbelievable experience. So if you're in need for a dash cam, seriously, look no further. Check out the link in my description. They are super sweet. Now, let's grab mine and I'll show you through it. My prototype that I so hope they build. And now I should say, they don't know I'm making this, so they'll have it. I'm gonna give it to them tomorrow. SEMA kind of starts tomorrow. I'll give it to them tomorrow night at dinner, and they'll have it in their booth. So if you want to see it in person, swing by their booth. I'll put the location right here on the screen. If you're going to SEMA, I may do a meet and greet if there's enough of you guys there that want to come hang out. I might do a meet and greet. If not, ChrisFIx is doing a ton of meet and greets at the booth there, and I will probably come hang out for some of those as well. Support my buddy. So yeah, this thing will be there. Whether or not they decide to put it on display, I have no idea, because they don't know this thing's coming, and they have a very cool display that they've planned, you know, very far ahead of time. So I have no idea what it's going to look like, or if they got shelf space or whatever, but it would be super cool. Now, I will say, where my prototype comes short is it's being powered right now by USB. This would be a cable that would run, so you'd put a gauge pod like right about there in your dash, right? It would run straight to the front right there. It would come down around the end, go down, and it would go into your OBD2 port. That's how it would get a lot of the metrics from your vehicle that I'm about to show you, through OBD2 data, and then it could also get its power as well, which would be pretty cool. So it'd be like powered and data driven by OBD2, and that was something that I don't know how to do. Actually, I do know how to do it, but given that this is a prototype, I just, you know, who's got the time? And also, there's no OBD2 ports at SEMA to display. So let's say this thing was right about here on the dash. So I definitely designed this with the thought in mind of it would be easier to hide the cabling. Pardon the GoPro behind me. It'd be easier to hide the cabling. Turns out they're dash cam already. That's probably the easiest way to hide the cabling, but this is an easier way to hide a dash cam, right? So just imagine, you know, this cable, instead of running into a battery pack, is running down and into your OBD2 port. So you decide, you know, where you want this thing to go and whatever. Let's see if I can get the camera to focus on some screenage here. So I don't know if I showed you, but yeah, in the back, camera. That's a camera lens. Ta-da, camera lens. So that would be your dash cam. Camera lens pointing right out the front of your vehicle. So this is kind of emulating, you know, what it could look like if it was driving down a really pretty mountain road and not into the back of an engineless Murcielago. So anywho, that's our screen number one. Now I implemented a few things. I implemented touch, so you can swipe for screen number 2, and that is air fuel ratio and boost gauge. And then you can also turn the knob. That's number 3. So this would be all your temperatures. You could run air temperatures, oil temperatures, coolant temperatures. Bunch of different information comes over the OBD2 port. And so you could do a temp gauge if you wanted, or you could have all of these things. You could run G-forces. This chip on here actually can do a live G-force readout and stuff, but I don't know how to do animation. So you can do G-forces. You can see your lateral G. You can see peak Gs, good track information, all that great stuff. What's next? Timer. You can do a lap timer, track timer, all that great stuff. You can track with GPS. You can see where you're at on tracks, and 0 to 60 time, quarter mile time. You could do all of these great things using GPS, which could also be in a little chip like this as well. And then we're back to the dash cam. And then I also made it so, I mean, obviously you can go backwards through the different screens, but let's say you're there, you can press on it and it does a little double click, and then it goes back to the dash cam. So that's kind of like the default. So yeah, that's my prototype of what I think would be a really cool way to have a dash cam integrated into a gauge pod in your car. And yes, it's a little bit big. There's multiple sizes of an iPhone, but also mainly it was because that first one was the right size, and then I obliterated it, so the second one came in, it was a little bit bigger. But I still think it's fitting, and it really doesn't actually block my vision at all. It's hard to show on camera, but the way my head is right now, it looks like this. So the top of that doesn't even make it over the hood scoop, so it doesn't block any vision at all. Super freaking cool. Really wish the autofocus was on for more of that, but it's super freaking cool, and I'm really happy with it. And I'm super late to go to SEMA, so I gotta start packing my bags because my flight is tomorrow, but I got it done. If you want to see this thing get built in real life, Vantrue's got to know that there's customers out there for them to put all the money and time into research and development. So drop them a comment on one of their Instagram posts, on one of their Twitter posts, email them. If you think this thing's cool and you want to see this thing become real, they are the best company to go do this. They are like the top of like technical advancements and dash cam stuff. They're going to be the best shot at this becoming a real thing. And I think it would be super cool. I would want one myself very much. And until this one comes out, go get yourself an E1 Pro. The link's in the description. And I just want to thank Vantrue so much for, I was obviously been going through some really hard times in my life, and I have not been so excited for a trip in so long. It was such a amazing thing to look forward to be able to go and have this experience, and it was truly once in a lifetime experience, thanks to Vantrue. I mean, they treated us like kings, and we got to see a country and just learned so much. It was so great. And everybody at Vantrue now they're friends now. I mean, we are friends. And it's just super cool. I can't wait to go back. I'm gonna try and go back next year if I'm healthy enough. I'm excited. All right, I'm gonna go pack my bags. I'm off to SEMA. That was my SEMA build, and you know what? It's only 2 a.m. I'm done. The night before SEMA. I was gonna be on time until that one thing ripped in half, and then, you know what? Then SEMA builds did SEMA build things. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace! Come on.